Welcome to Communicate Now, where we talk about all things related to effective communication skills, everything from sales to negotiation, networking, leadership, and my personal favorite, how to win friends and influence people. Today, we have a special guest with us, Charlie Coad. He's an excellent remote sales professional, personal branding expert, and a superstar networker. He's traveled the world while documenting his journey. You can check out his content on TikTok and YouTube at Charlie I'm Busy.
Love
Charlie,
it. You're too kind.
how are you doing?
I am fantastic. Yeah. What a time to be alive. Really, really good. Thank you, mate. Good to see you again, and great to be on this fantastic show that you've got going on. That, to be honest, I can't not see. It's everywhere. You're talking to everybody, and I love to see it. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Great, thank you. Awesome to have you on. So let's get into it. I got a lot of interesting questions for you.
Go for it.
This is your show. The show's about you.
All
So,
right.
number one, how did you hear about remote high ticket sales and what made you decide to pursue it?
That is a phenomenal question. Now, my answer is probably going to be quite different to most people, because I didn't really understand what remote sales was, but I was already in it. And the reason is my story is a bit weird, to be honest. But I went out to Mexico during COVID with a girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, and we got there. Mexico was the only place in the world where it was a green zone. You know, everywhere else was red. You can't go. COVID was crazy back then, and
Yeah.
this is 2021 or 2022. I can't remember exactly. Went there, didn't have a job, didn't have any money. Broke up with my girlfriend. We were there for like 3 weeks before we broke up, and then I'm just in Mexico on my own with no language skills, can't communicate, no money, no friends. I'm like, this is crazy. But what's the alternative? Do I go back to the UK and do a job that I didn't really like or enjoy? And I was like, no, I can't do that. So I'm here now. Like, I'm on the other side of the planet. I've got to make it work somehow. And yeah, I thought, okay, well, I need to speak to people. So I sort of taught myself Spanish through YouTube, 20 minutes a day, speaking to locals, went to the pubs or the bars, got a bit drunk, and that worked.
Yeah.
Met some people on the beach, and I was like, right, this is fantastic. I've got friends. Well, the last thing we need now is money, income.
Yeah.
And I heard that there was a load of English people in a bar in Playa del Carmen in Mexico going to watch the Anthony Joshua Usyk fight a couple years back. So I was like, all right, brilliant. Sounds like my kind of people, of course.
Mhm.
So I went there, went into this bar, and the boxing's on, got chatting to people, had a few shots, and then drunkenly someone came up to me and said, so what are you doing here? What's your story? Okay, so what are you doing for work? And I was like, well, I'm not doing anything. He was like, well, how's the money? And I was like, to be totally frank with you, terrible. I don't have any of it and I need it. And he was like, okay, well, have you ever done sales before? And I was like, yeah, I have actually. I've retail sales, event stuff at university. He was like, all right, well, why don't you come into the office? Because I have a sales agency and essentially we sell fitness programs to Instagram coaches.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, fitness, like what the hell is even, how does that work?
Yeah.
Like that just sounds weird. I don't have any idea what you're doing over there. But I was like, you know what? What else have I got to lose? There's nothing else going on. Let's see what happens. So I went to his office. I listened to a few calls. And the way it worked back then, it was like I'm not going to say illegal, but it wasn't legitimate. Let's just say that a
Okay.
stand-up office in the middle of Mexico. And I listened to a few calls and he went, okay, do you want to take your first call? And it was phone calls as well. It wasn't over Zoom. And I remember him saying to me, so the first lady's in the NHS, she's in her 50s. She won't have the budget to invest anything above £1,000. So just try and get her on maybe a £200 a month package, to £200 for 3 months. And I was like, okay. Phone call ended. I walked out and he was like, so how'd you do? And I was like, well, check your phone. Like, did anything come through? Acting a bit mysterious. And he was like, yeah, he pulled out his phone. £1,800 for 6 months. And he was like,
Wow.
wow, okay, yeah, you're in. You
Yeah.
can carry on doing this. But so that was kind of remote sales, except every day I was going to the illegitimate office in Mexico. Um, I was taking phone calls. We didn't have our own calendars. I didn't know if I was going to be really busy or not busy at all. And as I say, like I didn't have control of anything, and the commission wasn't not great either. It was like 5%, which was fine though, because Stephen back then all I cared about was pina coladas and girls.
Yeah.
So as long as I had money to get the pina coladas and I had the freedom to go and meet beautiful women, everything was fine. I didn't really have the long term vision.
Yeah.
Um, So yeah, cut long story short, I met JD on a beach in Mexico.
What?
Yeah, that's happened. My friend Lara, who's in the sales space too, we were on a beach. My brother was next to me. I got chatting to Lara, and she was like, "Oh, Charlie, you should meet this person. He's in the sales space. I think you guys would really get along." I was like, "Okay." Boom. Turns around JD, and this is when JD was rocking the slick back, like sort of man bun.
Yeah.
Turned around and he said, "Oh, I'm JD." I was like, "I'm Charlie," and yeah, we just hit it off. We got along really well. And a few months later, I went to Colombia, met JD. We talked more about UCM. And if you ask him, I was an absolute nightmare for him to get onto UCM. I was probably the most difficult prospect he's ever had as
Yeah.
a student, you know. And yeah, cut it short after that. I went back to the UK, joined UCM, knew what the remote sales space was, and here we go. And that was 2022 August, and I haven't looked back since.
Wow. And just out of curiosity, what city was that in Colombia?
So where I met him was Medellin.
Okay, you're not even going to believe this. Okay,
Go
my
on.
story is actually quite similar. So it was
Okay.
about 6 months ago, and my money was going down, and I had been in Colombia in Medellin for 3 months, and then I was in
Mm,
Cali for 1 month. And my money was going down because I didn't have an income, and I thought I'm going to have to go back to Canada and go back to working construction on an oil pipeline, and I hated it. But I thought, and I wanted to travel, but there's nothing I could do.
right.
Anyways, I was super depressed and I bought my plane ticket back and I was really depressed, but there was an expat that I talked to and I said, well, let's hang out because I don't know anyone here. And I was in Cali, Colombia at that time.
Okay.
And I went to talk to him and I was like, I swear I just met up with him just because I wanted someone to talk to because I felt so depressed. And then 5 minutes in the conversation, he says, why don't you do remote sales? And I was like, well, what is that? He said, well, high ticket sales. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
And I said, no. I said, well, how do I get that job? Are you offering me a job? He was laughing like, no, it's not me offering it, but I know a school that you can go into. And so, because he said you should start networking. And I didn't know what networking was. I thought a network was just your friends.
Mm.
So once I got back to Canada, he told me about JD. And then I met JD. And then here I
Ah.
am now 4 months later. So it's a very interesting story because it started off for me in Colombia. And then now I'm here.
Yeah, I guess Colombia is the hub of remote sales,
Yeah.
uh, birth of the journey, apparently. So, yeah, that's really interesting. And it's funny because now remote sales is a lot more, I would say there's more awareness
Yes.
about what remote sales is. 2 years ago, I would tell people and I would describe it as well, what I do, what it is, how it works, and they still wouldn't have a clue. They still did not know what a remote sales guy is or a closer, or there's been advancement and people just kind of understand it a bit more now.
Yeah, that's right. And people in corporate jobs have begun to heard of it too. They've even
Yeah,
begun to heard of what they've even started to hear about what a DM setter is.
I know. And I can't help but blame TikTok and other social media platforms because
Yeah,
you know how like it always used to be the thing. Oh, what was it like? Oh, make 10K a month from sitting at your home. Here's Amazon FBA. And then it was, oh, here is drop shipping. Here it is. And every kind of business model gets thrown into that bracket of easy at home. They usually get into the conversation of dot, dot, dot scam because someone's had a bad experience.
yeah,
Now, remote closing and remote setting and triage calls, well, they're in the same bracket now. So depending on how you look at that, it's either a really good thing or a really bad thing. But it's just common. That's the main point. Everyone knows.
yeah. And the current offers I'm on, I'm doing DM setting. I'm finding my own leads, and then I'm doing
Ooh.
triage calls with them, and then I'm closing them. So I'm learning everything all at once,
Oh,
which
that's
is
great.
great.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
you're a full-fledged sales gladiator then, my
yeah,
friend.
that's
Nice.
right. So, uh, I noticed that one thing that I notice about you, Charlie, is your personal branding. So, why is personal branding so important in 2024?
Oof, you've hit the headlines with that one, my friend. Well, why isn't it?
Yeah,
And the reason I say that is because we're in such an age where you have so much at your fingertips. You have access to so many different platforms, different strategies. You have literally the attention span, generally speaking, of about 30 seconds when it comes to everybody right now. So it's easy to engage with people. And that also means, in terms of business, that you don't really always need to rely on one source. And that one source could be a business owner, it could be your current offer, or it could be the industry as a whole. You know, it could be remote sales. And if you have a fantastic personal brand, if you were to leave remote sales, you're not just the sales guy. You are Stephen Smith. You are Charlie Coad. You are the person. And that's why it's so powerful. And someone told me this a couple of months back and it resonated with me. The thing is with your personal branding, you can go into a room and people will have conversations with you because you'll make people aware because you're in the same room, the same physical location.
Yes.
Well, personal branding is the conversations people are having about you when you're not even there.
Yeah.
That's the effect it has. You know, it's that, oh, okay, that's that guy. We're all talking about him in our spare time. He's not even in the building right now. We're still talking about him. And that's why it's so essential.
It's interesting because it's almost like you become a mini celebrity.
Yeah,
And
I
so
know.
it's important the message that you want to bring across. So I want to make sure that the content that I put out and the shorts that I put out are just top notch. You know, it's
Yep.
incredible the software that there is out there these days. A lot of people might think it's really tough to edit the videos. You might even have to hire someone. I found a program that was only $100 for a lifetime membership. I put in a 40-minute podcast and it came out with 20 shorts
Oof.
immediately, already with everything subtitled and animations. I didn't even have
Yeah,
to edit any of them. And
that's
then I
it.
just put them out. So it saves time and it's easier than ever these days to do
Absolutely.
personal branding. And
Yeah.
what do you think the future of personal branding is going to look like?
The future of personal branding. That's really something I've never thought about before. I guess if we strip it down to how everything else is moving, that might be a fair estimation of where personal branding's going. So we're looking at what now? People being able to access more, people being able to make money quicker. We're seeing people allow or not allowed, but have access to a broader audience. And I think that it will become so common that people don't have a personal brand. Um, sorry, do have a personal brand. That it's a rarity if you don't. And now you're seeing, and I'm seeing anyway, like especially in the UK, corporate guys who have been in the company for a very long time, they're now speaking about personal branding and this and that. And it's like, why wouldn't you want your own reputation and your own skill set? Because essentially, companies are businesses and they do really well because people know what they do and how they do it. So if we're going to think that same notion of a salesperson or an individual doing some other kind of skill set, that's what personal branding is. It really closes the gap between who you are and where you want to be. Because even if you think that one day, Stephen, you woke up and thought, sales game's not for me anymore, I want to go into trading, you might never have done trading before, but
Yeah.
because of your personal brand as someone who's committed, disciplined, and thrives with excellence and gets a result, someone in the trading sphere would have heard of you, or they might have a connect for you and they'll vouch for you. So what have you done right there? You've shortened your time of learning to something you don't know anything about because you lean on people because they know Stephen Smith. It doesn't matter if you've never done trading, you'll
Yeah.
become Stephen Smith the trader, but you're still Stephen Smith the person who's excelled already. And that's the difference.
And what I love about it is that the shorts that you put out, that I put out, I can only put out the ones that make me look the best. And
Yeah,
so when
always.
people watch them, they think, oh, wow, what an incredible speaker he is, but they don't hear any of the mistakes.
Yeah, I know,
And
I know. Me too. That's why we got editing software. That's exactly why we edit.
exactly, exactly, it's perfect. And even if we get AI that will start making me say incredible things that sound a lot more intelligent, I don't think I'm going to
Mhm.
use it though, because I gotta, you know,
Yeah. Yeah,
can't
yeah.
take
You
any shortcuts.
stay sharp. Get
Yeah,
get that axe looking sharp. We don't want any rusty axes over here. I get it.
yeah. And
Mm.
also one thing too is that anyone who's looking to hire you, they look at how well you speak. They look at how you conduct yourself. They see that you're
Mm.
presentable. I mean, those are just three things that they want, and they can see your attitude if you have a positive attitude.
Sure.
Immediately, they just look at you. They're like thinking, you're skipping the line to the top of their list of people that they would want to hire, even if you don't know anything about the trade that they're in. Like for example, you said trading. They think, well, I can teach anyone anything, but I want someone with a good attitude that can communicate properly.
Of
So when
course.
they see you, they think, okay, well, I'll bring this guy on board. You haven't even sent a resume in yet.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, and I view it almost as social commission. And that
Social
phrase is
commission.
social commission. You're being paid in your social and your personal awareness and brand. The stronger personal brand you have, and the more people know who you are, and as long as they know you for the right reasons, that's your social commission because your network and your brand is getting paid in dividends. So okay, we're not earning money at the moment, but it's social commission because we're shortening that gap between where we are and where we want to be. And you know, it's funny as well, Stephen. I've actually got an interesting story to tell you.
Yeah.
So recently, and this piggybacks exactly what you were just saying a minute ago, but people know who you are, and it shortens your time of learning, and it shows how you're presentable. So I'm not going to name any names or name drop companies, but I had a big interview. I want to say 10 days ago with an ecom gig, all the way in Australia, and these guys are monsters. They're no babies, right? I think they're doing over 1 million a month, and it was really interesting. I jumped on a call with the director of the company, and I'd been sending a few, let's say, bold messages on social media to try and get people's attention.
Okay.
Sometimes you're going to rub people up the wrong way. They're not going to like it. It's fine. Not everyone is. Other people are going to admire your balls and just the fact you've gone out there and done something a bit bold. So I jump onto the call with the director, and I'm like, okay, this is a big deal. Sharpen myself up a bit. He hops onto the call. First thing he says, not even a hello, is, "So, are you running ads or what?" And I'm thinking, I'm like, running ads? What do you mean? He's like, because you're fucking everywhere, and I can't not see you. And I'm like, excellent, right? So that's it. And then because of that, although it was only a little humorous moment, straight away we broke the ice. Straight away, there was a bit of rapport. Straight away, it was just like, okay, the barriers are down. We're two humans hanging out. And it led to really good things. And then right at the end, he was like, great to meet the legend finally. And yeah, and it's led to a good opportunity. So that's just proof in the pudding that your personal branding is so important because it gets you ahead of the line, you know?
Yeah. And it's not just for jobs. I mean, you never know where it could lead. It could
No,
lead to entrepreneurship. It could lead into some type of, facilitating or negotiating deals between two people that you know.
of
Uh,
course.
yeah, you essentially become a super connector.
Yes,
Now,
yes. And that's another way to earn money anyway. That's a business in itself. That's a gap in the market. The connection between one person with a problem and one person with a solution is really what we do in sales. So you're still selling. It's just a different way of framing it.
yeah, that's right. It's great. And you can connect them with people that you know are solid people and are going to get
Yes.
the results. So they'll see you as a guy. This guy talks to people. He knows people. He knows who can actually solve my problem. So I don't have to sift through advertisements trying to wonder if this company is a scammer or not, or
Mm.
if this company is a borderline scammer. They can just ask you and you'll let them know who the best person is to send them to based on their budget.
Exactly. Exactly. And
So
it's a tool that's really overlooked. I think more people are getting into it now, which is really, really great. But we need to look past sales because unless you wake up cold sweats during, middle of the night thinking, oh, my closing percentage isn't there. Oh no, what am I going to do? I'm not going to hit KPIs. Unless that's how you live, fair comment to say that we all have a plan post sales or post where you are right now. Maybe you want to run sales teams, start your own business, whatever it may be. If you don't have a brand, you make that very, very difficult. If you do, you make it easier.
yeah, that's right. Now, this really ties into what you were explaining before about that meeting that you have with, I believe it was an ecom company owner.
Yes. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so there is an intro video, a short form content video that you put out that
Yeah.
looked like, and I'm going to post the link below. It looked
Yeah.
like the most incredible Hollywood style resume. I've never seen anything like it. It had motivational music playing in the background. So
Yes, sir.
what made you decide to create this video?
Yeah, really good point. So being in the space a while, I've got intro videos, but they're always just a bit blasé.
Yeah,
They're just like, whatever. It's just another guy talking about what he's done, but it doesn't actually mean he's doing it. So I was like, well, considering that this is an evidence and it really just pushes the needle forward, why not, instead of push the needle forward, why not Muay Thai kick it forward and just do something very explosive? Because it's still not evidence. It's just increasing your chances. So I was like, well, look, from a business standpoint, it doesn't guarantee I'm getting a job anyway of an intro video. But it shows who you are. So I was like, okay, well, how can I get more attention than the average person who's just doing an intro video? Because everyone does them now.
yeah,
Well, I could really be bold and stick some music behind it and make it capturing and engaging. Because look, at the end of the day, if the music is enough to make someone not want to work with you, chances are it isn't the music, it's more than that, and you weren't going to get the job anyway. Now, on the other hand, if they work with you because of the music and then they listen to what you're saying, you're like, oh shit, that's exactly what we're looking for, then you would have probably had a good chance of getting the job anyway. So I think the whole point of these intro videos is I see myself as a business, and any good business knows how to market themselves. Any good business knows how to draw attention, and for better or for worse, it gets people talking about the business. And if I'm going to really kind of use that same motto or that same framing, I need people to talk about what I'm doing, who I am, and it doesn't matter if I make you get you pissed off and you end up hating me, or you end up absolutely loving me and then we work together. Either way, you are still talking about me, and that's still engagement and it's still visibility. So
That's right.
the intro video is just a Muay Thai kick towards the explosive content and the exposure, if that makes sense.
I love it. I mean, when I saw it, I wanted to hire you, and I don't have a company. I can't hire anyone. But as soon as
Yeah,
I get one, I'm going to try and hire you. All right. I love
love
that
it.
video.
Yes, brilliant. Thank you so much. Some people, I've had loads and loads of great responses. I've had free job offers come from it. I've had two guys reach out to me who are in real estate going, look, somebody has just sent me this video. I have no idea who you are, but you sound great. This sounds incredible. Let's talk.
Yeah.
And on the other side of the coin, I've also had people thinking, what the hell are you doing? You sound like an idiot. What was the word I got the other day? You're just talking yourself up, you're dicking around, like, who do you think you are? And I'm like, okay, brilliant. So you are still talking about me now, and you're still taking time out of your day to
That's right.
watch it.
That's right. And they're
Yeah,
going to
watch
show
it
it to
and feel
people.
about it.
They'll show it to people and say, "Look at the video that this guy put out." And the
The
person
audacity.
the person they're showing it to is going to think that was incredible. I'm going to show it to this guy.
Yeah, that's the
Great.
thing. And respectfully, I should probably say thank you for marketing or being a part of my marketing team. So for the people that are watching it and slandering it and then continuing to show other people, yeah, send me an invoice for the money I owe you for marketing it. I appreciate that a lot.
That's great. I love it. So, what are some of the values that you have when networking with other people?
Oh, you're killing it with the question, Stephen. It's as if you've done this before. Um,
A few times, yeah.
yeah, values when networking with people. I think now this might not sound proper, but I think just don't be a dick. Like we get along, uh direct and to the point, but also just having honesty, integrity, and an alignment based on that because I think networking calls can be different depending on who's in the networking calls, right? I network with people because I think that I can help them and they can help me. And then I also network with guys because I think I can help them and they might not be able to help me, but if I really, really feel like that I could help them in some way and they've reached out to me, then I will try and make time to do it. Now, on the other side of the fence, there isn't always going to be a time where I'll have time to hop on a call. And I just started this group, by the way, UK Closers. It's essentially a hub of UK guys. A lot of those people are brand new to the space, and we have these weekly calls to save the time on the networking Zoom calls because we're all just so busy. I don't have time to do it. But even in those calls, the values I would have on a networking calls are in those meetings I have with the UK Closers. And it's honesty, it's helping each other out, it's providing a service, and it's getting someone to leave that call in a better optimum position than they were in before we ever met or even spoke. So I hope that answers the question.
It does. And you know what? I always say that if you have the ability um, to make someone feel better
Yeah,
during a conversation after they leave than when they came in, you are a highly effective communicator and you know how to offer value. And you're going to make a change in that person's life. They're going to remember that. And the law of
absolutely.
reciprocity will come into play and it will always come back to you. It's almost like positive karma, I would say.
Yes. Yeah, of course. And it really just ties down to that idea of what we spoke about a minute ago. That is evidence of social commission. It's right there.
Social commission. I love it.
Social.
I love it. I love it. So, networking isn't just about exchanging business cards, it's about
Mm.
inspiring people as well. How does it feel when you know that you've inspired someone so much that you've made an incredible impact on someone's life?
A good question. Absolutely wonderful. It genuinely does feel incredible. And I've had guys that reach out to me outside of the sales space because on TikTok, you'll see I do a lot of content about motivation, about daily discomforts and doing the things that we don't want to do, but we know that we need to become whoever it is we're trying to get to. A guy that I'm working with at the moment, indirectly, since he's been literally just absorbing my content, he's quit his weed habit. He's gone in to do something that he never thought he could do this time last year when he first started talking or engaging my posts,
Yeah.
which is start his own media company. And he's now working with high-end suits, like men's formal wear. He's
Yeah.
now doing the media campaigning for that company, and this is quite a big company. It's a pretty big deal. And
Yeah.
now he's gone on to meet rappers, and now he does their content for their music videos, and it's like his success is his success, but the reason he's there is because he was brave enough to go out and be like, I'm not where I want to be. What you're saying right now is exactly what I need to hear. And daily he's listening to I mean, it is me, but it could be anyone else. And it's just amazing knowing that you are doing something to help others and it's actually helping. It's so, so powerful and incredible. And I wish him and anybody else who absorbs my content and gets a kick out of it the absolute best. And I can't explain exactly, but it's wonderful.
Yeah. And there are a few people I know which have great content on YouTube channels.
Yeah.
And I've been only met them a few months ago, networking with them. They have great short form content, 30 seconds. I can watch a short throughout the day.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have
yeah.
time. It works perfectly. And like, for example, someone I know, Reese Thompson in Australia, and he has an incredible YouTube channel where he's doing a 365-day challenge to make
Wow.
10,000 per month in remote sales. I can guarantee he's going to cross that before 6 months because
I
he did
agree.
an incredible job. And when I look at it, it inspires me too. So having those type of people around you really makes a difference in my life because they're inspirational, they're confident, they're very good communicators, and they want the best for the people that they network with. And those are the
Yes,
type of people that I want to be around because it's
of course.
constantly inspiring. So before we wrap this up, I guess we won't wrap it up now. We still got a lot more to go. But right now, I'll say, is there any advice that you'd like to give people that are just starting their networking journey?
Yeah, actually. Be selfish. Be selfish in the sense of you need to think what is the best for you. I think when you first start putting content out there, because other people are going to tell you that it's no good, and other people are going to tell you don't do it, and other people are going to tell you it's a waste of time. So be selfish in that aspect to not care about what people are going to tell you, because sometimes those opinions stem from the fact that they haven't done it yet. They're not going to do it. And because you're doing something a bit different, they see it as weird. So selfishly focus on you and your reasons. And also just embrace it's going to suck and it's going to be difficult. And you probably won't get any traction straight away. You're probably just going to, what's the saying? Is it eat dirt? Or I don't know what the saying is, Stephen, but eat crap. You're going to fail, and that's okay. And if we know that's a part of the plan, when you fail, don't worry because we expected it. And if you don't fail straight away, bonus, you're doing more than you should be doing right now. So big props to you. So start, and stop stopping, and I think you'll be okay.
Great, great. And I just want to mention quotes that I've heard recently. John Maxwell, famous leadership coach, he
Mhm.
says, either you succeed or you learn. And so I always focus on what I learn when I make my mistakes. And there was another woman that I had on this podcast, Princess B, and she runs her own podcast.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she's great. And she said, on the other side of discomfort is everything in the world that you could possibly want. That's perfect. And
That's
so I
very good.
remind myself of that because even maybe people watching this, especially because I put the best clips out, they might think that I'm an incredibly confident person on camera. I'm nervous before I come on to every single podcast. And people might not realize that, but I think that I've programmed myself to step outside of my comfort zone repeatedly because it's not that it's not that I'm so confident to be on camera. It's that I'm confident that if I come on, fall flat on my face, I'm confident that I can get back up and continue to perform. In other words, I'm comfortable with making those mistakes. That makes
Good.
everything so much easier. Holy smokes.
Yeah, of course. And it's that same concept can be directly applied to anything. It could be relationships, obviously sales, business in general, but it would also be things that you've never really done before, like fighting or training some form of martial arts. You're gonna really, really suck at the beginning. It is gonna be horrendous. You're gonna think, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? This is terrible. The nerves, the fear, the anxiety, blah, blah, blah. Well, when you get past that, and it's not that you're meant to get rid of it, you're just meant to control it because that's okay, it's normal. We know this was going to happen. Well, when you're on that step and you really are leveraging those feelings and those normal emotions, that's a superpower. That's the power in it. I know I'm going to suck, but guess what? Still going to do it. And
Still
I'm going
gonna
to get
do
up
it.
again. And I'm going to get up again. And I get up again. And I do it on sales calls. I talk to new offer, perhaps. Never done this before. I don't have a clue what I'm actually selling, but I understand the deliverables. This guy might come into the room and know more than me. And that's okay because I'll suck. I'll understand why he's asking that question. I'll reframe it and I'll get the real truth. And now I'm the expert again. So we're meant to suck, but we're not meant to give up. We're meant to keep moving forward.
That's right. And that's why I think it's so important to have the right people in our networks that will continually inspire us. And they know that when we make mistakes, we're just learning and they still cheer us on regardless.
Yeah, that's really well
Yeah.
put. I agree with you. And competition competition doesn't happen when people are lower than you, right? The people that are doing worse than you will try and pull you down. The people that are doing better to you or better than you, I'm not going to complain that you're trying. So anytime someone's digging at you, you just got to think, okay, well, clearly by your own behavior, I'm doing more than you are right now, because the guys I'm trying to be aren't going to shit on me for trying to get there, right? They'll commend me for my efforts.
Great. So everyone watching this, go and check out Charlie's channel. It's called
Charlie, I'm busy.
Charlie, I'm busy. So check him
Charlie,
out
I'm
on TikTok.
busy.
Check him out on YouTube. One thing I'm going to say before we go to the audience here is that there's going to be a few changes happening to this podcast. So there's going to be some interesting things happening. It's not just going to be people in the remote sales community. I was just at a convention or a conference down in the southern United States in Dallas, Texas, and I met a ton of people that are super excited to come on this podcast. And they're in the blue collar industry, and a lot of these guys are multimillionaires. It's going to be incredible to see what is going to come of this channel because I think it's going to help a lot of people. I'm so happy that you came on, Charlie. It made a really big difference. And yeah, we're just going to wrap this up here. So let's say wave goodbye to everybody.
Thank you so much for your time, Stephen.
Yes.
Guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you very soon. The world is yours. Keep doing things and stay busy.
Yes. Perfect. All right.